A hush fell over room 204. Ethan Cole stood at the front with a torn folder and a thrift jacket. Ms. Beatrice Langford held a tablet and a tight smile. She drew a strip of blue tape across the tile. "Step on the left if your fees are paid," she said. "Step on the right if you owe." 30 students moved. Eyes down. Shoes squeaked. "Ethan," she said, "pick a side." He froze. His stomach burned. "Right," he said. He stepped across the line. Scholarships reward effort. Ms. Langford said into the air, "Not excuses." A few students stared at their desks. A few smirked. "Your essay had strong voice," she added. "But big ideas do not replace proof of character." Laughter, thin and nervous. Ethan held the folder tighter. A photo of his little sister slipped from the pocket and slid across the floor. He bent to get it. Ms. Langford's heel pinned the photo. "Eyes up," she said. "We model focus here." A bell rang. Students rushed out. Ethan kept his head down and gathered his things. A hand touched his sleeve. Mr. Hale, the principal, spoke low. "We will review classroom tone," he said. It sounded like smoke without a flame. Ethan walked home through cold air. His mother, Mariah Cole, met him at the door of their small apartment above a laundromat. She worked nights at the hospital. She kept receipts in a shoebox. She kept promises in a notebook. He told her the whole scene in short sentences. He kept his voice steady. She listened without blinking. "Names," she said. He gave names. "Dates." He gave dates. "Words." He gave words. Verbatim. Mariah opened her notebook. She wrote 3 lines and underlined each one. Respect in rooms. Proof before judgment. Help without a price tag. "Eat," she said. "Then we plan." They spread books on the kitchen table. Ethan's essay lay open. A red note from Ms. Langford sat in the margin. Style high. Substance thin. He had written about odd jobs with his uncle. He had written about his love for circuit boards. He had written about a bench he built from scrap and a busted scooter. No lie. No spin. Mariah pulled a flyer from her bag. District Showcase, Saturday. Talent. Projects. Scholarship winners. Beatrice Langford's face filled the bottom corner. Keynote. Teacher of the Year. Founder, Langford Learning. A search result on a cracked phone said she was a millionaire from an EdTech exit. Interesting, Mariah said. For minutes in. Watch till the end. Subscribe to Echoes of Black Struggles. Mariah called 3 parents she trusted. A math tutor. A bus driver. A cashier who led a reading circle at church. "Meet me at the laundromat room Thursday at 6, she said. "Bring your stories. Bring your kids." Thursday came. 8 chairs. A coffee urn. A whiteboard. A freshman named Grace spoke first. "Group fees block field labs," she said. "If you cannot pay, you sit out in the library." A senior named Luis added, "I fixed a lab sink before school. I still lost points for late gear." A parent, Mr. Tran, shared, "My daughter speaks Vietnamese at home. A teacher calls a crutch." Faces dropped. Shoulders set. Mariah wrote in big letters. "No shaming. No pay to belong. No language bias. Now we build," she said. "No cameras. No stunts. We build a room that proves a point." They named it Benchlight. A simple name for a simple idea. A workbench and a light for any student who walked in. 2 hours a day. 6 days a week. Free. The laundromat owner, Mrs. Quinn, gave him the back room for a month. A carpenter friend built 2 sturdy tables. A retired librarian named Ruth brought bins of paper and glue and a soldering kit older than Ethan. Coach Reed dropped off a box of used calculators. By Friday, Benchlight opened with a short line at the door. Ethan walked in with a stiff back and a quiet rage that no air touched. He helped a 9th grader repair a broken fan. He tutored a classmate on algebra with a breadboard as a visual. He spoke 10 words at a time. He showed steps. Kids stayed. Work moved. Saturday came with the district showcase. Banners. Balloons. Folding tables on a glossy gym floor. Ms. Langford stood near a stage with a microphone. "Merit builds leaders," she said into the crowd. Ethan passed by with Mariah. He did not stop. They set a small benchlight table near the far wall. No logo. A plank. A lamp. 2 simple projects. A handful of kids gathered. They built a steady hand game out of wire and tape. They fixed a broken toy car for a little brother who waited in a stroller. A hush rose from the stage. Ms. Langford called the scholarship winners. She paused before the last name. Ethan Cole, she said. The gym turned. Ethan froze. Not to celebrate, she added. To teach. She lifted a stapled packet. This is Ethan's essay, she said. A reminder that voice without grit fails. She waved the pages. Bravery without proof. Promise without delivery. The room buzzed. Mariah stood. Her face went flat. Her eyes did not blink. She walked to the stage steps. She did not shout. She did not shake. She held up a single sheet of paper, a receipt for the very fee Ms. Langford mocked in class. Paid. Date stamped. Proof. Mariah said into a mic she took from a stunned student usher. She faced the crowd. Proof before judgment. Ms. Langford flushed from neck to cheek. I did not speak about fees, she said. Names are fresh. Mariah said. Words, too. The principal hurried over and reached for the mic. Let us step aside, he said. Mariah lowered the mic. She looked at her son. We step aside, she said. We do not step back. They left the gym. Ethan's hands shook. He stuffed them in his pockets. He stared at the parking lot lines until they stopped moving. A small group followed them out. Ruth, Coach Reed, 2 students, 3 parents. A stranger in a navy coat stood by the exit and waited for them to pass. He spoke in a quiet voice. My name is Daniel Pike, he said, education attorney. Alumni, I have heard enough. He handed Mariah a card. Monday at 9, he said, bring your notes. Lights from the gym flushed across the glass doors and faded as someone let them swing shut. Mariah put the card in her notebook. She closed the cover. Benchlight opens at 4, she said. We keep building. A car stopped in the fire lane and idled. A window rolled down. A voice tossed 3 words into cold. Drop this, Mariah. The car pulled off. Ethan watched the taillights until the red dots died. Benchlight grew in 1 week. Every seat filled by 3:15. A middle schooler fixed a loose chair leg. A senior prepped for a math test with a deck of flashcards Ruth made by hand. A janitor dropped in during his break and showed a group how to patch a small hole in drywall. Mariah taped 2 rules on the wall. Ask with respect. Answer with patience. She set a simple ledger on a shelf. Names. Times. A short note on what each visitor built or learned. No payments. No new fees. The only price was time and focus. At 9 sharp on Monday, Mariah sat in a small office with Daniel Pike. He listened to her story and Ethan's, line by line. He read the receipt. He read a copy of the essay. He listened to a recording from Grace, the freshman, about the feline in class. He took notes in a clean hand. We have 3 paths, he said. Classroom relief, district relief, public relief. Mariah nodded. We start with the first 2, he said. We write, we file, we walk. He drafted a letter that afternoon. Short, firm, precise. 3 requests. End public shaming related to money. Post clear fee rules for all students in simple language. Offer a pathway to access programs without a price barrier. He hand-delivered the letter to the principal and to the district office before sundown. By morning, phones buzzed. The principal called Mariah in. Thank you for your letter, he said. We will address tone. She waited. Silence cracked after 6 seconds. And your policy, she said. We will review, he said. She stood. We expect a date, she said. He swallowed. He wrote a date. That night, Benchlight put a map on the wall. Pushbins marked places where school charged extra to touch the richer stuff. Robotics camp. Pay to ride the competition bus. Chemistry lab coat. Uniform for a varsity sport. A 7th grader added a pin for a field trip with a suggested donation that sounded like a rule to her mom. Ethan stared at the map. It should not look like a toll road, he said. No tolls, Mariah said. Not on learning. At 4 minutes in each chapter, here is your mid-roll. Watch till the end. Subscribe to Echoes of Black Struggles. On Wednesday, Ms. Langford walked into Benchlight. No camera crew. 3 students froze. She looked around with a closed face. She pointed at the rules on the wall. She read them out loud. She looked at Ethan. I overstated in class, she said. I regret that. Her voice stayed level. She turned to leave. Wait, Mariah said. Sit. Ms. Langford sat. Mariah placed 3 items on the table. The receipt, a copy of the essay, a short statement signed by 5 students who heard the fee line. Proof, Mariah said. I see it, Ms. Langford said. Fix it, Mariah said. Ms. Langford stared at the map with the pushpins. Her jaw tightened. I run a scholarship program, she said. I offer opportunity. Opportunity with rules that shrink some kids. Mariah said. Rules promote effort. Ms. Langford said. Rules should open doors. Mariah said. Not close them. A middle schooler walked over with a broken zipper. Ethan fixed it while the 2 women sat in a brief silence. The boy smiled and ran back to his project. Ms. Langford stood. I will adjust my classroom, she said. The rest lives above me. Then you walk with us. Mariah said. Where? Ms. Langford asked. The boardroom. Mariah said. Thursday. 7. Thursday came. Benchlight closed early. Dozens gathered at the district building. They waited for the public comment line. Mariah held her notebook. Ethan held the essay. Ruth held a stack of ledger pages with names and notes from Benchlight. The board chair called the meeting to order. Lights hummed. Voices bounced off walls. Mariah spoke first. Respect in rooms, she said. Proof before judgment. Help without a price tag. Ruth spoke next. Here is our ledger, she said. Here is a list of kids who use a bench and a light to do what money blocks elsewhere. Ethan spoke third. I will never forget that blue tape on the floor, he said. I own my work. I reject your shame. The chair cleared his throat. We will study this, he said. He looked toward Ms. Langford. She stood. All eyes pulled to her face. I spoke in a way that harmed dignity, she said. I apologized to my class and to Ethan. A murmur moved through the seats. I will end felines, she said. I will post my rules in one alternate path for every price. Mariah stared at the board. School must match that, she said. We will review, the chair said. After the meeting, a small group stopped Mariah in the hall. A school nurse, 2 cafeteria staff, a bus driver. We have your back, they said. We know where the hidden charges live. Daniel Pike stood near the exit with a folder. He spoke soft. Your board punted, he said. We escalate. How? Mariah asked. A complaint under 2 sections, he said. He named them from memory. Disparate impact from fee-based access. Retaliation risk from classroom shaming. He handed her a draft. Tight. Targeted. We file Monday at 9, he said. On Sunday, the laundromat lost power for 2 hours. Benchlight went dark. Kids still showed up. They worked by the door with daylight on their hands. A neighbor rolled in a small generator and a work lamp. Light returned. Work resumed. At closing time, Mariah found a note taped to the wall. Block letters. No signature. Stop or lose a room. She folded the paper and put it in her notebook. On Monday morning, she and Daniel filed a complaint. The district clock started. The board chair called. We take this seriously, he said. Good, she said. We have names. We have dates. We have fixes. That night, Ethan walked home from Benchlight with a box under his arm. 2 students from another school followed at a distance. They wore hoodies and blank faces. One stepped forward and shoved his shoulder. Small hero, the taller one said. Think you changed the world with glue and a lamp. Ethan did not swing. He set the box down. He kept his eyes on their eyes. A car pulled up. Coach Reed stepped out and stood at Ethan's side. The boys backed away and vanished into the alley. "Never alone," Coach said. "Never alone," Ethan said. When Ethan reached the apartment door, Mariah met him with steady eyes. "They will try new tricks," she said. "So will we," he said. Her phone lit up. Unknown number. A text popped in. "Board will vote Tuesday. Closed doors. No public comment." Mariah put on her coat. "Then we move the line," she said. Tuesday night, a crowd found the boardroom doors locked. A sign said the vote moved to executive session. A security guard shrugged. "Orders," he said. Mariah stepped onto the steps outside. She raised her notebook and spoke from the heart. Short lines, short breaths, respect in rooms, proof before judgment, help without a price tag. Parents repeated each line. Students repeated each line. A chant formed, but it stayed gentle. No insults, no heat. Inside, the board voted. Outside, the crowd waited in the cold. Ethan held a thermos and poured cups for the younger kids. After 1 hour, the chair stepped out. His tie hung crooked. His eyes looked old. "The board creates a task group," he said. "Timeline," Mariah asked. 60 days, he said. "Too slow," she said. He looked at the faces on the steps. "I hear you," he said. He walked away. Daniel called within minutes. "We take this up a level," he said. "State level?" Mariah asked. "Yes," he said. "We go to the office that watches doors," he added. He named it. She wrote it down. At Benchlight the next day, Ms. Langford appeared in the doorway. She held a box with brand-new lab coats. "I bought these," she said. "No labels. No strings. Use them." Ethan looked at Mariah. Mariah nodded once. "Thank you," she said. "The room accepts gifts without names." Ms. Langford looked like she had swallowed gravel. She set the box on the table and turned to leave. She stopped. "I have a meeting at the foundation," she said. "I will press for a grant to build a permanent Benchlight room at the school." "Make it public," Mariah said. "Make it permanent. Make it free." That night, Daniel filed a state complaint with attachments. The ledger, the map, the letter, the receipt, 3 statements from staff, 5 from students, 2 from parents who saw fee practices shift field and club access. The state office stamped the date. The clock reset. Faster this time. A week passed. Benchlight hit capacity every day. Ruth trained 3 volunteers to run a second table. Coach Reed taught a bike repair mini class in the alley on Saturdays. A teen who once shoved Ethan showed up and fixed a loose pedal on a little brother's bike. He did not meet Ethan's eyes, but he stayed for an hour and left a note that said, "Sorry." Ethan folded the note and put it in the ledger. Ms. Langford asked for a meeting with Mariah without lawyers. They chose a diner at lunch. She wore a plain sweater and looked 10 years older. "I grew up with a teacher mother and a banker father," she said. "I thought I knew how to judge effort. I wanted to push. I pushed the wrong way." Mariah listened. Words carry weight. Mariah said, "That weight crushed my boy in front of room." "I know," Ms. Langford said. "I hurt him." "Then repair it." Mariah said, "I am ready to step back from my foundation board for 1 year." Ms. Langford said, "I will fund a school-based Benchlight. I will write a public letter about dignity in rooms. I will sit in the back row at the next meeting and listen." "Do it," Mariah said. "Will you accept my apology?" Ms. Langford asked. "That belongs to my son," Mariah said. Ethan looked at her hands and then at the window. "I am not ready," he said. "I do not hate you. I am not ready." Ms. Langford nodded. "I accept that," she said. The state office called 1 week later. A compliance officer spoke in a dry voice. "Your district agrees to a binding plan," the officer said. "Short timeline, clear steps, post-fee rules, and any pay to access core learning. Offer waivers that do not shame. Train staff on how to speak about money with respect. Create a free project room at the school run by staff and volunteers. No names on the door, only a plaque with the rules." Mariah wrote each item. "In 4 states," she said. "We will," the officer said. The board chair met them in a small conference room the next day. No podium, no press, papers on a table. He looked tired again. "Sign," Mariah said. He signed. Daniel signed as witness. Mariah signed to acknowledge. Ms. Langford walked in late and placed a check on the table. "For the room," she said. "No branding." Ethan asked one question. "Will you speak to my class?" he said to the chair. "About what?" the chair asked. "About whose face matters in a room," Ethan said. The chair nodded. "Yes," he said. 2 days before the new room opened at school, someone slid a note under Benchlight's door. "Close or lose your spot." It read in the same block letters. Mrs. Quinn found it at dawn. She taped it to the wall with a smile that did not reach her eyes. "Rent paid through summer," she said. "They do not move us." On opening day, the school posted the rules on a clean board in the hallway. Pay rules, waiver steps, plain words, large font. Ethan walked into the new Benchlight room and set the first tool on the shelf. A screwdriver with a blue handle. He looked at the door. Mariah stood there with her notebook. She did not step in. She waited. The bell rang. Kids poured in. Work started. No fees asked. No lines drawn on tile. A shadow filled the doorway. Ms. Langford stood on the threshold. No mic. No speech. She held a letter in both hands. She faced the class. She took a breath. Ms. Langford read her letter, without drama. "Shame hides inside small rules," she said. "I helped those rules grow. I stopped that today." She looked at Ethan. "I wronged you," she said. "I spoke to a room and cut your dignity. I am sorry." His chest felt tight and wide at the same time. He nodded once. He did not speak. He walked to the board and wrote a line. Respect is a rule. The room sat quiet for a long beat. Then work resumed. A sophomore sanded a wooden frame. A senior helped a seventh grader fix a binder clip. Ruth sorted wire by color. Coach Reed checked a bike tire by the window. After school, the board chair met the class in the library. He spoke plainly. "We failed to watch our doors," he said. "We changed that." He pointed at the new board with the rules. "This stays up," he said. "This outlives us." Mariah stood with her notebook closed. She did not need it now. The rules sat on the wall. The room hummed with quiet purpose. That night, Ethan walked home with Mariah. They passed the laundromat. Benchlight still ran in the back. The schoolroom took root, but the first room did not die. A kid without a ride still needed a bench within walking distance. Benchlight kept its light on. They stopped at the bus stop, where the wind always cut. Mariah folded the old threatened note into a paper crane and placed it on the bench. "Trash day," she said. Ethan laughed for the first time in weeks. "Trash day," he said. Weeks turned into a month. Phone calls from families dropped in. Fees posted. They said, "Waivers offered without heat." Class tone better. They said, "No more lines on tile." "Benchlight packed," they said. "We need more stools." Ms. Langford kept her word. She sat in the back row at meetings. She wrote a short reflection for the staff page. She taught her class with a new rule at the top of every rubric: dignity first. One evening she stopped by Benchlight with a toolbox. She found Ethan fixing a broken picture frame for a student whose dad worked a late shift. She waited, then spoke. "I am leaving the foundation board for the year," she said. I turned down a speaking tour. "Why?" Ethan asked. "So I listen," she said. "So I teach well again." He nodded. He tightened the last screw. He handed the frame to the student with a small smile. A month later, the state office sent a report that called the district in full compliance. Dates hit, signs up, room open, training done. The letter closed with one line that felt like a seal. Respect in rooms improves learning outcomes. Ethan stood on a low stage in the cafeteria as a small event for Benchlight volunteers. No press, no stream. He held the blue-handled screwdriver and told one story in 50 words. The day a boy who once shoved him showed up to fix a pedal. The boy looked him in the eye and said, "My bad." That was enough. He looked at his mom. She nodded. He faced the group. Pain arrived in a sharp line on the floor, he said. We answered with a bench and a light. We changed the rule. We kept a room open. If you need a step to take, open a room where you live. Keep it free. Keep it kind. Keep it strong. Subscribe to Echoes of Black Struggles. Share this with one person who needs strength today.